Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. In today's video we find ourselves in the very unusual position of concluding a phenomenal thrilling trilogy, if I dare say so myself. A trilogy that goes up there against the likes of the Dark Knight trilogy, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Hobbit is absolutely garbage, I take all that back, but our own trilogy in my opinion is up there as we're here for the third and final part of the Rangers career retrospectives. We've looked at Kent, we've looked at Morelos. Now it's time, 24 hours on before we find out if Scotty Arfield is joining the two on their actual way. That's right, we'll get all the evidence and all the information out tomorrow, but before we do, I thought let's actually sit here and discuss Mr. Saturday Night and see how his Rangers careers went so far. So strap yourselves in, there's a lot to talk about, there's a lot to discuss, and if you do enjoy the channel or find yourself enjoying the content, please consider hitting that like button. We are rapidly closing in on 60k. It is within reach now, people, so any help would be greatly appreciated. But I'll get on with the video, and if it's worth it, I'm sure you'll hit that like button. Let's start off with where it starts, people. It's always the best idea to do that, starting at the start, unless you're a Quentin Tarantino film. Am I here to talk about Rangers or here to talk about films? Both, I think, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to start off way back in the 18-19 season as Scotty Arfield joined Rangers from Burnley on a free transfer, people. A free transfer. Can I just say, I know it might not always have turned out and maybe went the way we all thought it was going to go, but this will be remembered as one of the best bits of transfer business we have done, getting Scotty on a free. And where I went back and I watched my reaction video of signing Scotty, which I was a lot less grey back then. I miss those times, but I was very excited. I called it a sensational bit of business. In my personal opinion, that's exactly what he brought, especially when you look into his first season as it was. Absolutely unreal. Again, joining in the 18-19 season, he played a total 46 games that season with 12 goals and 7 assists, bringing 19 goal contributions in his debut season, which in and itself is great, people, especially when you actually look at the absolute ridiculous impact he had in the SPFL. We needed some genuine quality and attacking threat and some help to some of our bigger players, and that's exactly what Arfield brought, as he brought in a simply unbelievable 17 goal contributions in just 25 SPFL games. When I tell you this guy came into your team and took off like a bullet and absolutely added something that we never had, I really mean it. And it's why pretty much every Rangers fan about the place fell in love with Scotty, because he came, he saw, he conquered all in one season, and he brought us what we needed. That was goals and attacking threat from the middle of the park. His 18-19 season actually often gets overlooked, and it was actually good. If you remember my Tillman video I made not too long ago and everything, I think it was just a couple days ago, we spoke about Arfield's best ever season matching a Malik Tillman's, and going back and looking at that season in a bit more detail, I just sat and smelled and went, Scotty was absolutely unreal that season. But because I'm OCD and it's the way it's laid out everywhere when you look in terms of these players and their statistics and their careers, we'll go in a wee bit more deeper as well and break down post-split differently as well, just so you're getting all the information upon season. So we spoke about the SPFL campaign. Well, post-split, ladies and gentlemen, of course, having played 4 games during that, he also grabbed 1 goal on his debut season, again adding to what was a ridiculous season setter for Scotty Arfield. But of course, if you've seen the Tillman video or you've just heard me 45 seconds ago, you would have known that's his best output of a season. His first year was his best overall season. So what happened actually after that? Well, follow us on the old journeys. We get to the second season, and the second season is when the Scotty of playing everywhere started to actually happen. His first season primarily used as a midfielder / an attacking midfielder, and the output they gave us was simply ridiculous. But then we started to sign other people, bring other people in, and Scotty was maybe hurt by the fact that he can play in so many areas. We've talked about that before, the old jack of all trades, master of none. That almost fell on the lap of Scotty, as he was still played a very good amount of games, but he started to be spread all over the place like Nutella, ladies and gentlemen, as he played a whopping 49 games in all competitions, 3 more than the season before. but his output dropped as he now wasn't just played centrally. He started playing at right wing and he started to play at left wing, which actually brought an even balance when you look into that season. Again, showing his flexibility and showing his quality to be able to help us everywhere, but plugging this gap took away really what he offered us in that first season, and that was a ridiculous attacking goal threat from the centre of the park. And as we mentioned, people, he played 49 games that season, but his goal contributions dropped to 14 in all competitions, and his biggest drop was quite clearly the impact in the SPFL, where he was simply phenomenal in his first season with 17 and 25. He actually dropped all the way down to just 9 goal contributions in 26 games. It's a massive drop off when you look at it like that. But again, it does underline something we often talk about here on the channel, because again, I like to give you as much information as possible. I talk about the player, I talk about the stats, because that's the way it is. I try and give you all the information you can, then you can sort of make your own mind up. But for me, the likes of Arfield's impact doesn't always reflect on the stats, because again, he is playing so many different positions. He is plugging so many gaps or so many leaks that we had in the team. And whether you're frustrated, because everyone knows over the last year I started getting frustrated at the way Scotty was performing and being used and everything like that, but everyone knows I love the guy in and itself. But what you can say about Arfield, whether you love him or you loathe him, is the fact that when he was on the park, he gave everything he had. You never once saw a Scotty Arfield game you sat by when he's no ball at his arse or he's no in it. It's maybe not always worked out and he's not always been fantastic, but he gave absolutely everything. I think that's why he is such a unanimous fan favourite between all of the Rangers support. I mean, you'll be really hard to find someone that genuinely dislikes Arfield and what he's gave to this club, and that's even with the sharp decline from his first season. But let's get to all season 3 then, shall we? Because surprisingly, he was reverted back to the old central area because other players remained fit. Other players started impacting the right wing area, especially Kamal Roof for his best season in that right wing role. We had Aribo, we had Hadji. So Scotty was able to return back to the centre of the park. And you'll probably know where I'm going with this, as the third season brought an undefeated record-breaking league campaign, which I miss, ladies and gentlemen. Now, he played 45 games in all competitions that season with 7 goals and 6 assists, which again is lower on the goal contributions. But his biggest decline isn't the goal contributions or the assists or the goals or anything like that. It's actually his minutes played, as he started to just be used almost as an impact player, as his season per minute dropped nearly 800 minutes from the previous season and the season before that. Again, a lot of that was down to other players performing and playing really well, but his impact was starting to be stilted, where he was just played here, then he wouldn't play again next week. And that actually brought the exact same goal contributions in the SPFL than the season before, having played 800 less minutes, which is actually very impressive, obviously, as he notched 9 goals once again in 25 SPFL games. But I'll give him his flowers and I'll give him his credit for that one. If he's back playing centrally, playing a hell of a lot less minutes, but he impacted goals and assists. And maybe we'll start to look at Arfield's time and thought, maybe if we could have just played him more in his actual position rather than filling all these gaps, he could have offered us even more moments. But that was a massive season for us. He certainly played his part and he had some big moments that season as well. Hi there, it's time for CJ's OCD. Once again, it's time to tickle that urge, ladies and gentlemen, as of course he didn't play any games post-split, so you wouldn't have heard that last season, but in his third season he did play 3 games post-split with no goals or no assists. Moving on to the next season as we get to season 4, and this is when the frustration really started to kick in, because you could argue the signs in the season before started to show that maybe he wasn't necessarily the first name on the team sheet anymore. But again, when he wasn't playing every week, he would come on and impact the game, matching what he had done in a hell of a lot less minutes. So now we get to season 4, and I said the frustration builds, and that's because once again injuries to other players, lack of form, people dropping hot and cold meant Scotty Arfield had to move from his central position again to the right wing. And that's where all of our frustration started to really happen, as he was no longer just filling in for a game or two right or left. He was actually played a hell of a lot last season as a right winger, and we love Scotty Arfield, but he has not got much pace. What's special about Arfield is those late runs into the box, ghosting behind midfielders and getting into the box. In the right wing, he was almost wasted, in my personal opinion, and That's why you saw the drop that you actually did. But in saying that, because again, injuries to others and lack of form and people moving on, etc., he actually played his most games he's ever played for Rangers in his 4th season in the 2021-22 season under our boy Gio, when he eventually came in, having played 50 games in all competitions. But I can't really sugarcoat this when I say the impact that he had despite playing more games was poor to the previous seasons, as he notched just 6 goals in all competition with 0 assists. Played his most games that he's ever played, but the output, the goals, the assists dried up so badly. There was no assists and just 6 goals in all competitions in 50 games for the club. That was the frustrating season. That was the disappointing season. And if I'm honest with you, having gone back and reading everything and looking at it and seeing how much he played out of position, it's not really the lad's fault. Again, his flexibility was almost a curse to the lad, as he was filling in primarily as a right winger when he's no a right winger. But he still had big moments that season, of course, grabbing that goal in the League Cup to help us on our way to lifting. The League Cup, massive. He turned that game versus Celtic, again being Scotty Arfield, impact player, where he was come on and offer a goal centrally at that point. But he was just never given a run at centre over the last season or two, and it's been a game here, drop out, fill in here, Scotty, you're a good guy, work hard here. And it's probably played into his downfall and why some people are so frustrated with him over the last year. And to keep my OC satisfied, by the way, in his 4th season, he mustered just 4 goals in 24 games, which again was his poorest season to date. And that leads us to this season right now, where again we have 2 games left. He is expected to be a part of the Wednesday game, and I'm sure the last game of the season versus St Mirren as well. So I'll give you the stats as it currently record today, but again, could score a hat-trick on Wednesday. That would be lovely. Imagine the hat-trick, a salute. So take the stats with a wee bit of a grain of salt, if you will. But again, I think it shows where Scotty is and where he is in his Rangers career, as he's played 41 games in all competitions so far this season, which will actually end up being the least games that he's played in his Rangers career. When you look at it season upon season upon season, even if he plays in the next 2, it's the least he's actually played. But still, 9 goals during that run and 1 assist. That's right, we're back in the assist charts, baby. Barely, but it still counts. Alright, Scotty Arfield with 6 goal contributions coming in almost a very, very familiar, consistent stat line of 26 SPFL matches. He likes hitting that 25-6 number, and he doesn't play much more than that. And so far, currently going in to the last 2 games, in which I imagine he'll probably hit 5 appearances overall. He's played 3 games post-split, with 2 left to actual play, and that's it upon season. But I think especially if you look at his first couple years, you saw a real attacking threat, especially the years he was allowed to play central and was given consistent game time and time to really show what he was all about. But really over the last 2 seasons, he's not really been used as that. He's been almost used as a kill streak in a way for the old Call of Duty. He'd come in, or he'd be impacted in a game, or subbed into an area here, fill in here. So he's not maybe really had the run of the games that he's probably a player of him actually deserves. But with other big names and other players in the team ahead, or getting picked ahead of him, Scotty's found himself in that jack of all trades, master of none role over the last year and a bit. But that's his season upon season breakdown. Now all that's left today is sit back and look at his entire Rangers career again up until Wednesday. Played a whopping 239 games in all competitions, grabbing 49 goals, 19 assists, 24 yellow cards and 1 straight red during his Rangers run. And if it is coming to an end, he will leave Rangers having been an undefeated league champion, played a part in helping us reach a European final and winning the Scottish Cup. And obviously one of the goals he did score this season was the first goal in the Champions League in the last 10 years. No, I'm not getting any further than that. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That has been Scotty Arfield's Rangers career retrospective. What do you think about him? How will he be remembered? If he is leaving and it gets announced tomorrow he is leaving at the end of the season, how will you remember Scotty Arfield? It'd be great to see some summaries down in the comment section below. I think the laddie actually deserves it. And again, despite my frustrations and annoyances at maybe the team failing here and him being a part of that being played out of position. I think if you look at his entire run, you saw somebody who came here, got what the club was all about right away, and gave absolutely everything. Never moaned, never complained, never got in trouble, never was unfit, never let his discipline go. He absolutely worked his pan in for this club week in and week out, and whether or not he was getting played, I mean, he scored 2 goals versus Aberdeen, won us the game, never played again for the next couple of weeks, but you never heard nothing. Brilliant teammate, always backing, always giving the support. I think if he does leave the football club at the end of the season, he'll be remembered fondly, in my opinion, and that's how he deserves to be remembered, as someone who just gave absolute everything for every minute he was at this football club. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. Until tomorrow, until we find out who is leaving this football club, I've been Siege Over 92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best and bye.